guys, I just wanted to show you something I'm doing at the end of my day to sort of release my back, because I've had a really long, really kind of stressful last couple of days. I just want to give people ideas of things that they can do to sort of counter the stresses of trucking on your body, or if you have a job where you sit all day, it really helps to do some type of inversion. So I'm doing a variation on a legs up the wall kind of deal, but this is my legs up on my bunk. If you're a taller person than me, you wouldn't necessarily need something underneath you, but this is a bolster. I happen to have this in my truck. I actually got it for my mom, and because my mom is so tiny, it's too big for her. And it's actually a little too big for me too, so I keep meaning to give it to someone. But I'm just using it right now because I'm like, oh, this can kind of prop me up off the floor. So I'm trying to show you, hopefully, what this is doing, because this bolster has an angled part, is it's letting my head come down onto the floor. And then I know having my head on the floor mat isn't the best thing, but this is one of the floor mats that shoes never touch. This is only clean socks. I have my head is below my heart, my legs are up above my heart, and it's sort of that way letting your blood flow. I don't ever know how to say that very correctly or eloquently or whatever, but it's basically taking a lot of pressure off of my lower back, and I think that you tend to have a lot of blood pooling in your legs when you sit all day, and this sort of helps to reverse that. And it's even better if you can extend your legs and put them up a wall or something, and sorry, this will be upside down video, but I like to do circles with my feet. So I do handstands in my truck sometimes, or at a rest area I'll use a tree or a wall and do a handstand up against the wall, get some blood to your brain. And I swear I think that has a lot to do with why when you're driving for so many hours you can start to feel like such a zombie. You're just sitting, it's really bad for your blood vessels, especially in your legs. It's just bad in general. So I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to share an idea of little techniques that you can incorporate, add into your end of day to sort of just help your body be a little bit better off, help to counter some of the specific types of stress on your body from long hours of sitting. So I was going to tell you more about how my day was, but I'm going to wait until I'm upright. So I had a really rough couple of days. I'm so tired that I'm just how can I put all of this into words in some sort of a linear fashion? So let me just start from yesterday. So I filmed a clip where I was at the TA in Denver, and now I'm in Minnesota. My company didn't have a dispatch for me right away, so I basically killed an hour and a half waiting, and then they finally had one for me. And the way that they scheduled it was without respect to the fact that they had kept me waiting for an hour and a half for said dispatch. And then they basically ran me really hard to get it to where it needed to go on time. And the process of getting there, it felt like just an uphill battle the whole time. I drove yesterday until I only had 40 minutes left on my drive clock. And I actually stopped at a Love's. I got parking, and it was a super congested, super annoying, really dirty Love's in Nebraska. I pull in the spot, and then I'm looking at the delivery time, and I'm wondering if there's kind of a window, because it is a drop, and sometimes there's some flexibility there. So I call the dispatcher, and he does this nice guy pressure thing, which I really dislike. I don't like it when people come across as disingenuous, and he's like, well, we really need you to get it there by that delivery time. That would be really good if you could do that. But, you really need to drive through your clock today in order to do that. And I'm just like, why am I getting penalized for the fact that planners weren't on their game and didn't have this load for me when I was ready for it? Because I started my day yesterday at 2:15 in the morning. I was on the road by 4, I think. So why would this not be ready beforehand? Because this is a small company that deals with the same sets of customers in all the cities that we go to. So to me, you see a driver is going to be ready for another dispatch and you're going to be on it. Well, when my regular dispatcher is in the office, this generally hasn't been an issue. But since middle of last week, right before she went on vacation, things started to switch up. And I think it's because she was just trying to probably offload some of her huge workload. I shouldn't even try to speculate, because who knows? There's just so many unknowns when you're out here, and that's what's weird about it, is as the driver, there's so much information that you're not privy to all you know is when you're getting screwed. They'll do stuff like this, and this happens to every driver. This isn't anything unique to me, and I'm not complaining like, oh, woe is me, because it happens to every driver, and it's happened to me before, and it's definitely going to happen again, where they set you up in a way that you can be on time if you beat yourself into the ground to do it. So that's exactly what I did. And I had already stopped at that Love's, and I was like, at least I'm in a parking spot, and it was like hard to get into the spot because of the way the place was, and it was just all chaotic, and people are honking at each other and stuff, and it was like after 5 p.m., which is a good time to not move your truck if you're parked. And if your clock is under an hour of drive time, like, you wouldn't want to keep driving in that case. Actually, at that point I had like an hour and 15 minutes, but then I got on the phone with the dispatcher, which was a mistake. Word to the wise, if you're a newer driver, my best advice, and I'd be interested to hear other people comment on this, I would say avoid talking to dispatchers as much as possible, unless you have to. Like today, I actually needed help because he had pressured me to make it on time for this drop, and then I ended up hitting this huge detour because I'm in Minnesota out in the country, and there's this huge closure. It's Route 23. It's closed for a long stretch, and then my GPS is trying to route me onto gravel roads, and that's a no. You don't want to do that. So you just keep going, and you're following the detour signs, but then luckily I didn't follow some detour signs which were not for that specific detour, and that was confusing. I kept going and then hit the appropriate ones. There were just some signs that said detour and didn't say Route 23, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to turn there or not. And it's tough when you're out in the country in a semi and you're on 2-lane roads. If you make a wrong turn, you can really be in a jam, and it can be a time-consuming jam. So this goes back to the main crux of this, which is they set this load up in a way that I would have to only take exactly my 10-hour break in between shifts when I got up super early and I was super tired already, had a really long day. Then I would have to like run through all of my drive time to make it to the delivery, which you don't want to do. You want to have time after that so you can find parking. And you need to have a cushion because you don't know what kind of stuff is going to come up while you're on the road. Well, guess what? After that detour, then I got into the main area where this delivery was, and I hit the gnarliest traffic. It was bad. Construction traffic where it's crawling for miles and miles. The delivery time was supposed to be 4 p.m. I ended up getting there at like 4:15, which was pretty darn good considering how hard I had to run to make it by that time. It's just frustrating because they set it up like that. Well, guess what? Then I get there. It's the after hours crew that's working in the facility, and they're looking at me with these expressions like they're waiting for me to tell them how to do what they need to do. Like they were super clueless, and that was stressful because I was like, okay, these guys are definitely not going to be able to help me. What do? I got to call this dispatcher again. And at this point, I don't want to talk to this guy anymore, and he doesn't want to talk to me. I can already tell he's trying to be done for the weekend. I'm just trying to get this task completed correctly. So I have to talk to him because it turns out they don't even have an empty trailer for me. It's supposed to be a drop and hook. They don't have an empty trailer for me to grab there. The trailer that I was supposed to grab wasn't even unloaded yet. So this trailer I have that's loaded, that my company rushed me and made me like beat myself into the ground over the last 2 days in order to get it here on time, which I got it as close as humanly possible to on time. They're not going to even unload that trailer yet because they have to unload the other one still that I was supposed to be grabbing. And it makes you laugh. You're like, this is why a more experienced driver than me probably would have been like, yeah, I'll do my best. And then they would have just taken their time and got there when they got there. It did nothing for me to rush. All it did is put me under a lot of stress. It made me feel shitty. It doesn't do anything for my bottom line. It doesn't help me. I've already put my notice in at this company, so if I wanted to, I could just blow it off. But up until the last minute that I'm at a company, even if I've already put in notice, even if I had a bad experience, I'm going to try to handle myself as professionally as possible and handle my business as professionally as possible, because I wouldn't want to give anybody a reason to say that I didn't do my job. You know, I don't have to feel great about the business that I'm working for, the way people handle things on the back end, and I don't have to feel like they're always doing things the right way. That doesn't have any bearing on how I'm going to handle myself. You know, you always want to just do your best. That's all I'm going to say. But I just was like, oh, this is just peachy. And then the kicker was I got back on the road, and I should have been paying attention to this going there but I was so tired. I just seriously, I don't even know how to explain it to you. Like right now I've got this little burst of adrenaline, but I have been an absolute zombie for the last probably 4 hours. The traffic going the other way, there was an accident. It was a truck involving two trucks, I think. And I had seen it on my way down and said to myself, oh crap, I better find another way around that. And I don't even think I could have, because where I am, it's a bad location. There's not a lot of ways around if you're in a semi. I was literally parked with my truck turned off for about 30 minutes in this accident traffic. It was a full stop for miles. And I was in personal conveyance at that point because I couldn't pick up the empty trailer, so I had just dropped off my loaded, so technically I'm not under a load, and I'm just trying to PC down to a truck stop. Thank goodness there's this little mom and pop down the road like 2 miles, and I just stopped here. Oh man, trucking is crazy. They'll try to pressure you to do stuff that sometimes doesn't make sense, and you can do your best, but it's almost like there's times when you just got to be like, you know what, I did my best, and then just do what you got to do to take care of yourself, because it does nothing for you to kill yourself. It does nothing. You don't make more money. You're still making crap money. At least I'm making crap money no matter how I handle that situation. I'm not getting any cookies. I'm not getting any kudos. I'm not getting a thumbs up. I'm not getting a damn thing. Trucking is a punishing industry. It's a punishing life. Companies don't give a shit about you. All they care about is the freight. So I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself by any means. I'm just saying, I'm just sharing an anecdote, especially for those of you who are getting into this and who are new. Don't expect to be treated like a person. Don't expect to feel respected. Don't expect things to be easy, because around every turn, no pun intended, there are going to be obstacles, and you are not going to be set up to make your job any easier by your company. They're going to bleed you dry. That's what they do. That's their job. And it's not because they're mean. It's because the industry is ugly and it's unregulated. And that's my lesson of the week. I'm real tired. I don't have to get up super early though, because guess what? I'm like 2 miles away from that place where I'm picking up an empty. And do you think they're going to have those trailers or one of those trailers unloaded for me in the morning? Maybe they will. I'm going to just try to keep my thoughts positive and hope that they do. And tomorrow I'm not on any kind of tight schedule. I just got to get back to our company's terminal that's not super far away, drop the empty, grab a loaded that's already sitting there, and then head back to my parking spot for a 34. This dispatcher didn't realize that I normally stay out for 2 weeks. And that works out well because I'm going to empty out some of the stuff from this truck and throw it in storage so I can start to be prepared to fully move out of the truck. So change is happening and it's all good, you know. That's all I got for now. Time to relax. I always like to tell you guys what I'm watching. I'm hate watching the show You on Netflix. It's so terrible. It's kind of fun. It's like a really bad show, but it kind of fun anyway. So I just like the first couple of seasons I was like, oh, this is so stupid and the acting is so bad and the guy is so annoying, but he's supposed to be a heartthrob, but he's totally not. I just keep watching it anyway, so now it's hate watching. Why? I don't know. Someone's hate watching this shit right now. I see you. I hope you hate it. I'll catch you guys later. Good morning. So this is how my morning's going. It's almost 7 a.m., which is a super, super late time for me to start. Normally I would be on the road by now for at least a couple of hours. I'm about 2 miles down the road from where I need to pick up an empty trailer. I have no way to reach anybody at that facility because the phone number I have goes to someone's voicemail and nobody answers that line. I can't call anybody at after hours dispatch at my company because it's completely pointless to call them because I've already done it enough times in the past. Just a couple of times was enough to learn that this is not an option, I don't have support. So I just started my clock. I started my pre-trip clock a couple of minutes ago. I pre-tripped earlier and I'm going to go down there. And the worst case scenario is if this trailer's not ready, I might have to sit for a while. And if I do, I probably need to sit there for at least 2 hours so I can do a split shift so I can make it to where they set me up to go for a 34. This dispatcher sets you up to have to run your whole 11-hour drive clock every day. That's what he's been doing with me all week, and it's going to be tough because going north on this run, I encountered really bad detours, and because I'm kind of in the boonies in Minnesota, I don't know that I'll be able to avoid that going back south as well. So I'm kind of stressed, but at least I got some sleep this time. This company that I'm picking up from, I've been thinking about it, and this is the only way I can explain it. Do you guys know the show King of the Hill? I love that show. The character in King of the Hill, the guy who mumbles all the time, you know who I'm talking about? That's how the guy was that I was trying to talk to at this place I'm picking up from yesterday. And he was trying to explain to me that they couldn't unload this trailer because they had to unload another trailer, something else. I couldn't understand what he was saying because he was very mumbly. It was very weird, and it felt like that thing where you're in a dream and someone's talking to you in a dream and you can't understand them, and he's standing like 2 feet away from me, but it's as if there's a haze between us, and then I've got this dispatcher on the phone, and I'm just like, oh my God, it was really weird. So I don't know what I'm gonna walk into. Let's find out. Well, I'm emotional because of something else I'm about to tell you, not because of work stuff. I got here and the guy that I talked to was more intelligible than the guy I talked to yesterday. And he was like, we don't usually have your companies. We don't usually like have people picking up empties or whatever from your company on Saturdays. We're usually doing blah, blah, blah. Like clearly the flow was interrupted. And I think it's because my regular dispatcher was out and the person that sent me here maybe I don't know what happened. It got screwed up, but this guy was really nice, and he's like, let me go find out what's going on, and he got it squared away so that they would unload it turns out they do have 2 of our trailers here, which I knew because I saw one that was still loaded that was supposed to be empty yesterday, and I had my trailer that was loaded that I had dropped off. So he's like, let me get one of these done for you. He's like, can you wait like 30 minutes? I'm like, yeah, that's great. So that's not too bad. The reason why I'm so emotional is I'm like trying not to choke up just thinking about this. I follow Good News Movement on Instagram. I try to minimize negative content, and lately I feel like I've been getting more and more like kind of political stuff in my feed, and I'm trying to unfollow certain things and avoid certain things because I've just decided to create boundaries around myself with regards to the type of content that I expose myself to. I do get enough news to know what's happening in the world and to feel like I have a good handle on it, but I also have gotten better at recognizing the difference between it's called newsturbation. You like that? I just came up with that. That's pretty good, I gotta say. Where you're just sort of like wallowing in information that is it's not news, it's news plus opinion, and it's designed to rile you up because it gets your eyeballs to look at it longer, and that's what these platforms make money from. So I don't want to be in a headspace of fear and anxiety and stress all the time. So it takes effort because we live in a world that is making lots and lots and lots and lots of money off of keeping us in that headspace. So anyway, I follow Good News Movement. I follow the dodo. I follow other like cute animal things. I try to maximize that type of content to keep my brain in a better place. And I just came across this post of Good News Movement, and it was a man who'd been homeless for years getting a haircut, and he had like a long beard and long hair, and you can see his body language, his expression in the beginning, and how dehumanized he is, and like how, you know, you could tell he's probably got a mirror in front of him and he's not really looking in it or whatever. It's just a weird, it's a sad, seeing him is sad. It hurts to look at the way he feels, the way you can tell that he feels. It's so palpable, and it just and then the person does a beautiful job of cutting his hair. He has a really nice head of hair and trims his beard, and he's just like, he looks really handsome and he looks really nice, and you can tell he's relaxed from the beginning of the video to the end because he's being taken care of and being treated like a person. And this stuff is just, I think a lot about homelessness. I see it, I think too, living in a major city, you see it more, but now you're seeing it in other places. Outside of truck stops, I just saw some people panhandling a family outside of a truck stop, and it's weird how I think a lot of us, our first reaction is like, well, like you think they're scamming you, they're going to try to scam you, and it's like, how is somebody asking for money that is that desperate that they've gotten to a place of asking strangers to feel enough for them to give them some money? How is that a scam? That's the scam, is the system that we're in that enables that to exist in the richest country on earth. That's the scam. I know someone who I've known for a really long time who has struggled with periods of time of being unhoused and mental illness relating to that. And I kind of wish more people knew an individual who was living that way, so they could better understand how it happens, because it's actually very complicated. There's nothing simple about it. It's not about lack of motivation. It's not about laziness when someone is dealing with persistent mental health issues. And you could say, well, just go get medicine, just go get medication, you know. And the weird conundrum is that person is able to get so much more access to healthcare than I am, because they have no income or very low income. And that's another facet of this whole thing. It's like people are led into a place of having no home because of things like medical debt, you know, because we live in a country that is utterly backwards when it comes to like just basic rational, you know, access to health care, access to affordable housing for hardworking blue collar people. Like we just don't have a rational approach to so many things. Anyway, that really tugged at my heartstrings. It's something I think about a lot. I would like more of us to think about it, because I think it's very easy to walk on by, be complacent, not recognize it could be someone that you know, someone you care about. Maybe it's a person who's suffered from substance use disorder. Maybe that is a result of them having mental health issues. Maybe it's a result of them having experienced abuse in their life that they don't know how to process. And they can't afford therapy because we live in the United States. And they can't afford medical care because we live in the United States. These are things I think we all should keep in our minds. Hello again. Well, you may notice I'm not in my truck. I'm actually in my car, and I wasn't supposed to be home this weekend because normally I stay out for 2 weeks, but this dispatcher set it up so that I was supposed to take a 34, and he was like, that way you can start moving stuff out of your truck. So I did. I took a load of stuff to my car, to my storage unit. Traffic, though, coming into the city was an absolute shit show. It was brutal because of construction closures and because it's a Sunday. But he set it up so that yesterday I should have dropped off, done that drop and hook, which then turned into a live unload, gone back to our company's terminal, which was about 3 hours away from there, picked up a trailer that he assured me would be waiting for me, a preloaded trailer, and then I was going to take that back to my parking, and then I was going to deliver the load that I was grabbing at our terminal on Monday morning. Well, guess what? I don't understand, like, I'm not trying to just be a mad shit talker, but I can't understand why this dispatcher has like set up one thing after another that does not at all. It's as if he just had a like vague idea that things would work out without actually checking to see when things would arrive. And this is a load that I was taking, sort of relay load that was coming all the way from California. So obviously it's a long trip for that driver, and you would think that he would check in first with the driver and get an idea of when that driver was going to show up with the load. It was supposed to be there yesterday in the morning, apparently. That, according to him, that's what he thought. It didn't get there till last night at 11:30 at night, which is when I'm sound asleep. So I ended up just being like, okay, I'll have an easy day at the terminal. I went and did a Walmart run. I got a pedicure because there's a little nail salon by the Walmart. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just have a relaxing day. I took a nap. I did my laundry, knocked out for a little while. That was good because I'm really tired. And then today I spent the whole day driving back, and because of the traffic, it was rough. Well, I unloaded some stuff at my storage unit, and then, you know what? Every time I come to Chicago, I don't have a taste for a delicious, outstanding Chicago-style hot dog. This time I did, but this isn't a hot dog. Actually, I did get a hot dog, but this is some scrimps. Gotta get some of those. My mouth is watering. And some hot sauce to go with said scrimps. That's shrimp for you non-locals. I guess I don't know who all calls them scrimps, but I call them scrimps. And then this is a Red Hot Ranch hot dog. That's right, I'm at Red Hot Ranch. It's my favorite place to get a dog in Chicago. And I'm gonna unwrap it and try not to make too much of a mess. Oh yeah, Now, I love a good Chicago style hot dog, but I have to be in the mood for it. And I haven't been in the mood for it lately when I've come in. Here you go. This is my Red Hot Ranch hot dog. Hot dog is in there underneath all these fries. Hot dog with everything. You may notice there's no ketchup because this is Chicago and you know we don't put ketchup on our hot dogs. So, yep. Hot dog, scrimps. So, there you go. It doesn't look that pretty, but it's going to taste awesome.